All right, everyone. Well, welcome to this mastery class. We're going to be going for about an hour-ish or so, and we're going to be talking about uncommon success. How about that? This is about you achieving uncommon success. And we decided to use that phrase because hopefully it's just kind of intriguing, but we need to look at what's the main recipe, like what are the common recipes that people are following and how can you be different? And I don't think any of you are interested in being just a common anything. And I don't mean like from an ego standpoint, you're better than anybody, but you have your goals and dreams and you want what you want. And I know you've got high standards and all that. And so we want to talk about actually creating the kind of success that most people don't have, which is uncommon success. So my name is Sean Smith. If you don't know, I'll tell you a little bit more about me here in a little bit. I've been in this coaching industry for a long, long time. And everything that I'm going to teach today and really all the time is just what I've learned through all these years of business. But specifically, what I want to talk about is how to be uncommonly successful in today's world. And I think that's so critical to understand that yesterday's world is not the same as today's world. And we'll talk about, the specifics of that. But the last 4 years especially has done a number on people in the marketing world, in the transformational world, definitely in the coaching industry. And the reality is most coaches fail. And that's not a problem. Most people that invest in the stock market lose, right? Most marriages fail. Most people that get into school, they don't get A's, right? Maybe not most people fail out of school, but most people don't really succeed at the standardized level of success. So it's actually not a problem that most coaches fail in the coaching industry because it's human nature. Your decision is going to be about whether you want to follow the common recipes that lead to most coaches failing, or if you want to follow the uncommon recipes to actually give yourself a chance at success. And I know that might sound sort of cheesy, but it's the truth. And foundation is really elementary. So in this world, success actually is uncommon. So let's just start there. Just succeeding. Just getting to the point where you've got clients coming in and you can start making money in your business, that by itself is uncommon because most people actually don't achieve anywhere near what their goals are in the coaching world. And if I had to guess, I don't have any numbers on this or a survey, but if I had to guess, I would say most people that want to go into coaching never get a client, not a single client. And I'm going to break down what I think is the reason why, so you can hopefully avoid that. But if you really want to be successful, then you have to follow uncommon recipes. So I'm going to talk so much more about that. If you don't know much about me, here is my whole life in 12 bullets 12. I've been in this industry for a long time, about 18 years in this business. You got pictures all around the screen, obviously, with me and my family. I got 2 kids and a wife, and some of the things that I've done. I was named the North America's Next Greatest Speaker in 2013, so that was cool, and it allowed me to travel all over the place and learn all kinds of lessons. And it was essentially a talent show, and so it taught me all kinds of cool lessons about speaking and what it really takes to captivate a crowd. That is critical because that's just leadership, right? So a lot of the stuff that I learned there, I put into coaching or put into even marketing and messaging. And you have to be a leader if you want to be a marketer in today's world. I created something called neurotransformational coaching several years ago. We're going to talk about that in this webinar series. I co-created a transformational trainer program with Lisa Nichols. Many of you know who she is. I've been on the TEDx stage a couple times. I've done a one-man show. I wrote a book called Daddy, Are You Proud of Me? I've been acting for a while now. It's actually much more. I got to update those slides. It's about 70 films now. In my first, it's 50 films in the first year. That's true. It's up to about 70 films now. I'll talk a little bit about that as we go along. I've produced all kinds of articles and videos and audios. I've just created a lot, over 1 million views on YouTube. I've done all kinds of courses. I only share all that stuff so that you know where my philosophies come from. They come from wisdom and experience. They come from paying attention to what worked for me and what didn't work for me, and the mistakes that I made that led to bankruptcy, and how I got over that internally and externally. And it's not about theory. It's about, what do I know works for most people who are successful? And what do I know is causing most people to not succeed, right? Most people to fail. And the stuff works like that. That's the thing, is like foundation actually works. Gregor just sent this to us a couple of days ago, actually. He said, my life is in a whole new place since meeting you. I can't thank you enough for helping me get myself over the belief line. And watch this. This is why I wanted to add this. Over the belief line for, can I coach people? And all the eyes there is so poignant and very telling. Can I coach people? Type in chat if you're on with us live, if that's something that you've wrestled with. Can I coach people? Can I provide the transformation that I really want to provide? Can I help people the way I want to help people? If somebody hires me, can I actually deliver and fulfill on the results? It's one of the biggest fears that people have. And you're only going to have this fear if you give a damn. You're only going to have this fear if you really care about helping people. Because if you didn't care about helping people, then your mind wouldn't wonder if you're competent in helping people. So if you have that fear, sometimes it's called imposter syndrome. I don't like using that terminology just because it legitimizes something that is then positioned as something negative, that people who care actually are always going to have some version of, like, am I good enough to do this? Because I actually care about doing a good job. So if this resonates with you, great. That just means you're in the right category of people that actually care about value and doing what you want to do, right? So Gregor says, it hits me deep when I realize I've already become a successful life coach, measured in certainty and usefulness to others. How about that? Certainty and usefulness to others. And I only secretly wanted this for 35 plus years. So if any of that resonates with you, and you are doubting yourself or have doubted yourself, you've been doing this for a long time, first of all, again, let us know with anything that I talk about in this whole webinar. Let us know if anything is landing for you, because it helps for other people to see that they're not alone. Because the challenges that most people have are actually very common challenges, but a lot of people think they're the only ones having the challenge. And if you think you're the only one that has a certain challenge, this is going to be very difficult for you to get over it, because you're not going to talk about it. You're not going to listen to how other people got over it. And when those are the actual most common challenges that people have, then that's a big, big problem if we're not actually addressing it. So whenever you can share whatever your version of your journey is, and other people can recognize that they're not alone, that's insanely valuable, and it's extremely helpful for other people. So continue to do that. As you are watching this, just engage. Like, that's one of the things I've been harping on for a while now. If you want mastery level results, you've got to be engaged in your learning. And in today's world, one of the biggest reasons why people aren't succeeding in anything that they're trying to do is because they're not studying like it matters. They're studying like it doesn't matter. They're studying like it's not all that important. And that's why I'm just going to multitask my learning while I'm watching a TV show or while I'm doing some other cognitive activity. So I'm paying attention to two things. And so technically, yeah, I did listen to the whole webinar, or I did listen to that whole course. But did you really? Did you just listen to it? Just like you're window shopping? Or did you get into the learning? And if you don't get into the learning, then you're not going to really get anything out of the learning. And so I really want you all to check in with yourself and make sure that the recipe you're following and the effort that you're giving is in line with the results that you want. And most people, I think, can't answer that question. Yes, I think most people are wanting certain results, but if they're really honest with themselves, the recipe they're following doesn't look like it. So don't expect more than what you deserve in terms of effort. right? And I would rather you put more effort in and then get more results out on the other side rather than just be shallow in your learning, right? So I'm assuming three main things of all of you. I'm assuming that you want to change people's lives. And some of these things, again, might sound almost cheesy and elementary and like unnecessary to even talk about, but it is important to agree on certain assumptions. Because if you don't have these assumptions, then everything I'm going to talk about is not relevant. And honestly, just don't waste your time watching the rest of this. Because if you don't actually want to change people's lives and what you want to do instead is just make money off of people, if you're just trying to get to clients without really understanding how to transform people's lives, then this is just, it's not going to apply to you. It's not going to work for you. So if you really want to change people's lives, then you have to get into the recipes that will give you that competency for truly changing people's lives. The second assumption I have is that you're committed to long-term growth, not just short-term success. And again, that might seem second nature, but most people, especially the way that we're being programmed nowadays, most people are actually, if you look at behavior patterns, and you look at how we're spending our time, most people are actually more committed to just get to the success as quickly as I can. How can I get to, in this world, in the coaching world, how can I get to clients? How can I get to money? How can I get to the tangible things that I really want? And so we put our targets on this short-term success, but we don't realize that in order to get to a foundation of success, you have to be committed to much further, much more committed long-term growth, not just success. Because if you're committed to long-term growth, success will happen. But if you're just committed to success, you'll be more susceptible to the shortcuts. And even if you can check off some of those boxes to get you to success, that doesn't actually mean that you've grown through the process, or it doesn't mean that you're ready to keep going. So you have to check in with yourself. Is this a long-term game for you? Or is it just a quick way to make some money? And if it's just a quick way to make some money, there are plenty of programs out there, and I'm not disputing that some of them might work, but this ain't it. This is about long-term transformation for you and for the people that you want to support. And then the third assumption is that you're interested in reality, and you're not interested in delusion, and you're not interested in fantasy, and you're not interested in shortcut. You understand that if you want to build something powerful, then you have to actually put in the work. You have to dig down and create foundation before you build a building, right? So if you want reality, then it's a different game. And here's one of the things that I really, really want you to get. If you are committed to reality, then you need to get out of the environments that are just going to constantly trigger your need for novelty. And if you're a human being with a human brain, you have a need for novelty, because we all do. So one of the things that really stops a lot of people is the short-term stuff is so sexy. But you cannot build foundation off short-term sexiness. You can't do it. Even if it works, it can't work long-term. So you really have to decide if you want to build actual competency, not fake competency. Don't put up a facade that will get people to hire you. I want you to ask yourself, are you willing to do the work that gets you so valuable that people can't not hire you? Because what you're giving them in terms of experience and intellectual consumption is so dang good that they need more. If you're committed to the reality of what it takes to actually get good, instead of what you need to do to look good, then this is possible for you. But if you're not committed to the long-term game, and if you're not committed to the reality of what it takes to actually get good, then all you have is you're just going to be jumping from fad to fad to fad. And I know most people are going to say, of course, I'm in it for the long run. But I want you to understand we're all programmed for short-term success. So this isn't something that we just, decide once and flip the switch on. Every time we pick up our phones, we're being programmed for short-term sensationalism. Every time we turn on any platform that has our attention, we're being programmed for short-term sensationalism. If you're engaging in human society, you are being programmed for short-term sensationalism. So what you got to do is check in with yourself and take a look at your behavior patterns and what are you actually committing to? Because it's not easy to get really good. It seems a lot easier to look good. But getting good is a process and it takes time. And again, I just want to highlight this because a lot of people struggle when they're in the process of getting good because they wished it wasn't like this. But that's why I say you have to be committed to reality. There is a reality to getting good. And everything else is fantasy. So we're going to talk about mastery a lot. And if you've heard any of the webinars or you pay attention to the YouTube videos, mastery is a term that I've been using for a long time now, 6, 7 years at an embodied level. For mastery to be created, you must be in the right classroom, but you also must be in the classroom right. If you're in the wrong classroom, a classroom that's not designed to teach mastery, then it doesn't matter because mastery is not available in that classroom. But if you're in the classroom that's available, where mastery is available, and they're actually teaching mastery, but you're not in the classroom right, then mastery is not going to be available to you because your mind is not right. You have fake or short-term expectations, or you just want it to be easy, you want it to be simple, you want it to be one size fits all. So then mastery is not going to be available to you. There is a process for mastery. There's a recipe for mastery. And here's the good news. If you buy the concept of mastery and you commit to the concept of mastery, there isn't a single person that can't achieve it if you follow the recipe. That's the cool thing about this kind of foundation. Everybody can do this, but you have to be committed. The reason most people never get to mastery is because of their own expectations, their own demands, their own relationship with discomfort, their own lack of support, their own lack of action in terms of embodiment and immersion and the things that you have to experience in order to achieve mastery. And mastery is not just a finish line where you just check that box. Mastery is an ongoing process. But the good news is, if you commit to the recipe for mastery, mastery is available to you. But most people never do, either because they don't know it or they don't like it. And here's what I also know about mastery. It is undefeated in all arguments about what it should be like. So if you get into a fight with how mastery is supposed to look, how you think it should be, or how you think it was for somebody else, you're going to lose that argument. Mastery is not to be negotiated with. You're either in or you're out. You can't take the bar of mastery and just lower it to where it's just an easy speed bump to walk over. And if you don't want to be committed to mastery, that's also fine, but just don't expect results that require mastery. And what I'm telling you is that in the transformational coaching world, in today's world, with this hyper overwhelming marketing universe that we live in, with all the crazy amounts of competition out there and all the automation and all the algorithms, if you don't commit to mastery, you should not do this. Because what it takes to succeed without mastery is a lot of sales tactics and lack of care, honestly, about what's happening to the people on the other side. So if you're going to go in and swim with the sharks, you better be a shark. And I don't think any of you are, because I don't think you'd still be here 20 minutes in. I don't think you'd be on our email list. I don't think you'd make it past a few minutes of us talking if you actually were a shark that just wants to take money from people. So if you commit to mastery, this is possible for you. And it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of iteration. It's a matter of, what's the right thing that's gonna land for you. So mastery is an invitation that I think you all need to intentionally and consciously say, yes, I'm committed to mastery instead of short-term success. And for those of you that are into the reality of these conversations, that's all I want to do with the rest of my career. All I want to do is have real conversations with real people. Because the idea that you can learn skills that can fundamentally change somebody's life for the rest of their life, that you can make sound with your mouth and change how somebody relates to their children or to their parents or to their own trauma or to their reflection in the mirror, the fact that you can make sounds with your mouth and change somebody's experience on this planet is sexy enough. That doesn't have to have sugar added on top of it. That doesn't have to be sensationalized. That's a good enough story by itself if you really want to do this work. So that's mastery. And that's what we're going to do today. The rest of this webinar, we're going to have a real conversation about what it actually takes, what it really takes. We're going to talk to you about this live event that we have coming up. We haven't done a live event in a long, long time. We've never done a live event like this one. So I'm going to tell you more of the details about that one. And if it's a good fit, great, jump in, join us there. And if it's not a good fit, then great, we'll support you from the sidelines the best we can. But you have to be in the classroom right. If you don't have the right mindset, none of this matters, and I don't want to be the person that, sounds negative. I want to be the person that actually helps you avoid the misery. If you're not on the right road with the right mindset, then what's available is not available to you, right? Like what's possible is not available to you. So before we get into the content about the 3 big ingredients for uncommon success, you have to understand the biggest mistakes that people make. Now, these are conceptual mistakes. And these are 3 of the biggest reasons why almost everybody fails. Because conceptually, they're not in the game right. Conceptually, they're making these mistakes. And if you are on the wrong road conceptually, then you're more susceptible to make all the tactical mistakes and the strategic mistakes, the specific stuff. So I'm chunking up here and looking at the conceptual mistakes that most people make. And the first one is the demand for rules instead of the commitment for roots. What so many people are wanting is rules. Will you just tell me what to do? Because if you'll tell me what to do, I will be the best rule follower ever. And I will build the best business that I could possibly build if somebody would just tell me exactly what to do and exactly when to do it and exactly what not to do, at what times, on what platforms, with what words, then I'll absolutely do this. But if somebody had the exact thing for you to do, then why don't they just do it? Why would you even be needed? Why would you want to become an exact replica of anybody else? Now, I don't believe that any of you are consciously, or anybody are consciously trying to become an exact replica of everybody else. But when you struggle, check in with yourself, and I can almost guarantee that almost all the time, almost all of you, when you're struggling, it's because you don't have the rules to follow. And because you don't have the rules to follow, the mind thinks, if I could just get the rules to follow. That's why I say this is a conceptual mistake, because not having the rules is not actually the problem. So getting the rules is not actually the solution. You have to be committed to the roots of yourself, the roots of transformation, the roots of marketing, the roots of creativity, the roots of entrepreneurship, the roots of coaching, the roots of humans, the roots of behavior, the roots of beliefs. If you can commit to the roots, then you have a chance. And nearly everybody is just looking for the rules. And one of the ways that you can tell what most people are looking for is to see what most people are selling. Why? Because marketers feed the industry, the market, according to what the market is hungry for. Not what is actually going to work necessarily, but it's what do they want? What are they asking for? So Marketers that are driven simply by results and money will put on the shelves what the people want. That's how you can tell what most people actually believe they need. Just look at everything on the shelves. And what you'll find is that most of the things on the shelves, meaning most of the courses that are being offered, most of the titles that are out there, most of the downloads, most of the marketing messages are rules driven. Let me tell you exactly what to do. Let me tell you how to turn every no into a yes. Let me tell you how to make $15,000 over a weekend like I did. Let me tell you how to achieve these results. And I'll give you the rules. And this is what you do on LinkedIn. And this is what you do on Facebook. And this is what you do. I want you, in this world of coaching, you need to understand this is by default inherently an individualized market. There are no rules that are going to apply to all people. And if you want to be a coach, there are no rules that are going to apply to you as an individual helping other individuals. So if you find some course, some promise out there that's telling you this is what you need to do to follow, and I guarantee you'll succeed, please run in the opposite direction. If you understand these concepts. Because if you know that that concept is BS, then anything operating on that concept is also BS. But again, if you're committed to roots, you're in different classrooms and you have to be in the classroom different ways than if you're committed to the rules. So that's one of the biggest conceptual mistakes that so many people make. Another huge mistake that a lot of people make is not really fully understanding what they need. Now, this is nobody's fault because we can't know what we need around corners that we've never turned, right? We can't know what we need on different levels of our growth. But because we don't know what we need, we don't have alignment. It's like if you are searching for a puzzle piece, you need to know what puzzle pieces that puzzle piece is supposed to fit into. Because if you don't already have an established puzzle piece, then any puzzle piece sounds good. The way that translates in the coaching market is that a lot of people are essentially buying sales pitches because everything sounds good. And one of the problems is that the things that most people are buying are good purchases, just not for them or not now. So a lot of people are making the right choices at the wrong time. They're buying high school textbooks in 3rd grade. Yes, that textbook will be important later. But right now, let's get you into 4th grade because that's where you are. But it's so common for us to see where we want to go, and then we buy the things that we think are going to get us there, and we just don't realize that's actually not the next step for us. And if you get excited about a sales pitch and the dopamine is activated in your body and you're like, oh yeah, all I need is this thing and then I'll finally get that, I can virtually promise you it's not going to work. Because the things that get us chemically excited are generally sensationalized things that are either not true or they're misaligned. So if you really want to check into mastery, if you want to commit to mastery, part of what you need to do is check your own reaction to the content that you consume and the choices that you make and the programs that you buy and the events that you attend and the coaches that you hire. And the real foundational work usually doesn't come in a sexy package. So again, you have to make the decision. Do you want to be good or do you want to look good? If you actually want to be good, great. Then make your choices accordingly. And way too many of us, I'm sure all of us would probably agree, we've all fallen for sales pitches. And we didn't realize that it actually wasn't the best thing for us right now. And then the final thing that's all in line with this same conversation And I mentioned it a bit ago. This industry of coaching and helping humans is inherently personalized because you're talking to individual people. And the only people that would buy a program or buy a coaching package from you is somebody who individually wants their individual life to be changed. Markets don't buy courses, people do. Industries don't buy coaching packages, people do. Individual people buy all of these things. So naturally, you need to address the individual making these choices. If anybody is giving you predictions about your journey or about your client's journey, or if you are searching for predictions, then we know it's not personalized, because I cannot predict something that must first be personalized. If you want a personalized recipe for success and growth in your business, then stay away from anybody that's going to predict anything to you, especially details, right? I made a prediction earlier just that it's possible, but I would never tell you it'll take 6 months or it'll take 6 years or you'll get 5 clients in the next 2 months. I don't know any of that stuff. I would never disrespect you by making false predictions just to get your money. But that is part of that's part of the explicitly taught sales process, is to make predictions for people. Why? Because it works. That's why. But it just leads to us emotionally buying things that aren't actually our next best step. So a lot of this work involves us sort of like re-regulating our systems, re-regulating our emotional systems and how we buy things and why we buy things and what our expectations are. So these are the 3 biggest conceptual mistakes. And each one of these conceptual mistakes could have 1,000 different specific examples. But I want to talk about the concepts so that we can change the roots of all this stuff. We can change the actual systems. And then you can make better choices and ultimately you can have better success, right? So here's a perpetual question for you. How's this landing for you so far? Type in chat if you agree. Because if you don't agree with some of these concepts, then anything that I can do to support you is just not going to land. Or it's not going to be helpful, because you have to agree to some of these actual concepts, right? And a lot of us just need to sober up, honestly, from a marketing standpoint. Like in terms of what we buy, how we're marketed to, our consumption habits, our effort, the way we're learning. A lot of us just need to sober up and go, I need to do the work to get good. So I told you that I've been acting for a while. It's almost 2 years now. And I knew that acting was an embodied journey. So a lot of the things that we teach in the coaching world apply to acting as well. It's a performance. Obviously, there's all kinds of failure that's involved. You basically put your heart on the line and say, am I good enough? And they're going to tell you yes or no. And it's really hard to deal with that emotionally. That's why so many actors quit, is because they don't have that emotional fortitude. It's the same human journey that we have in coaching or marketing or visibility fears, all that stuff, right? So I have learned in the acting world that embodiment is everything. And I need to embody the skills to take the rejection. I need to embody the skills to take the actions and to do the auditions and to submit as much as I possibly can, to take the shots. But acting is still a game of failure, just like virtually every single sport is, and almost all personal development is a game of failure. So how do you relate to the failure, right? So I've been acting for a long time. I've been on about 70 sets now. And I've just been getting so much more certainty in my body. I understand the process. I understand different perspectives. I understand what their job is, what my job is. I understand the universe of acting so much more than I ever did. And I've gotten pretty good. I've been speaking for a long time and telling stories for a long time. So this is just kind of a little bit of a detour. So I started off kind of ahead of the game in terms of telling stories. But I've gotten pretty good. I'm objective enough to know that I've gotten, fairly good. So I had a movie recently where I was the main character. I was in every single scene. It shows a transformation. It's got this emotional, crescendo in the plot, and it's a deathbed scene. It's me and my mom. It parallels a lot of my own like real life experiences with my mom, and it's just a very sacred film. And it's one of the films that I'm most proud of. And so there was a screening recently, on the big screen, the theater, and it's my big old face everywhere, and just doing all the stuff. And it was actually a really, really good film. It was a great quality film, and as neutral as I can possibly be, my performance was pretty good. The character's name was actually Sean, by the way. So it was like written for me. So we watched the movie. I think it's great. A lot of people think it's great. People were coming up to me like, "Oh man, you have a great performance," and all that kind of stuff, right? So I was kind of feeling good about myself. And right before I left, one of the teachers at the school pulled me aside and said, "Hey, come here, I want to talk to you." And he goes, "I watched your film, and I was in the process of the editing and all that stuff, and I think it was really good. And like you definitely have, you've got the stuff, right?" But he said, "Where are you training?" Actually, he said that first. I messed up the timeline here. The first thing he asked me is, "Where are you training?" And so I go, I took a class here with my son, and I was telling him about this class that I took, this acting class that I took like a year and a half ago. And he goes, No. Where are you training?" And I couldn't answer the question because I'm not training. And that's when he said, "Listen, you have the look, you have the skills, you have the talent. And if all you want to do is just get really good at these student films that don't pay anything, or if anything, not much, then awesome, stay where you're at. But if you really want to make a splash in this industry, to impress casting directors, if you really want to do this at a high level, then you have to pop. And in order for you to pop, you must be training. You must be training like it matters to you, because you have the ingredients, but if you're not training and you don't pop, then your ceiling is just going to be here. And if you want your ceiling to be much higher than where it currently is, then you need to pop. So my question is, where are you training? And it's like he just got into my heart and just like ripped it out for a moment. But I appreciated it so much because he was speaking reality to me. He was speaking the truth. And the truth is, if you want to be really, really good, you must constantly be training. Your learning must be an active present tense verb. What are you doing now? Not what did you do back then, not what certificates do you have, not what letters are behind your name. What are you doing now to continually get good, to continually grow, to continually evolve? And let me ask you, as a potential client, if you were going to hire somebody to be your life coach, would you want somebody who graduated from a program 15 years ago and that one certificate is still on the wall and they haven't done anything since then, and they're coaching you in 2024 with their 2009 philosophies and strategies? Or would you want somebody that's been swimming this whole time and growing this whole time and coaching as a client this whole time, so that they can continually be teaching you the things that they're learning while they are continually training? Which mentor do you want? Which coach do you want? Which leader do you want? So if you want the kind of leader that's constantly going, you must be that kind of leader that's constantly going. And again, what I see in the industry is that a lot of people aren't constantly, perpetually, nonstop training because they think it's like school. Once you finish first grade, you're done with it. And once you get into second grade, you're done with it. Once you pass the tests, you're done with it. That's not how mastery works. Mastery and growth is constant. Again, you have to be in the right classroom, but you have to be in the classroom right. So if that's the way that you have your sales set, then you have a chance. And I want to share with you in this first webinar, We're actually going to do 2 more webinars. It's going to be a 3-part series because it's just a huge conversation to have. But there are 3 main ingredients for you to have the uncommon success that's possible, but you have to understand what these ingredients are. And I don't mean be able to remember them. I don't mean tomorrow if somebody asks, what are the 3 S's under transformational mastery? You go, seeker, skills, and self. Check. No. This is, if you want transformational mastery, you're going to start a process that will probably never end because you're constantly wanting to grow. So that's the kind of commitment that you need to have. And that kind of uncommon success is available for the people that have uncommon commitment to the uncommon recipe. And then it's possible. So transformational mastery is the first ingredient. It involves those 3 things: seeker, skills, self. Conversion mastery is the second ingredient. It's about the laws of conversion based on human behavior, not the laws of convenience based on human comfort. And then the third one is embodied wisdom, and that involves immersion. So what I'm going to do is teach all 3 of these things, but we're going to teach them individually because I don't want to rush through them. And we actually weren't going to do that until today, where we decided, you know what, let's go ahead and break this up and do another couple webinars. We put these webinars on the calendar like literally 30 minutes before we started here because I don't want to feel rushed. So the second webinar, if you're watching this live, you're watching the replay ahead of time, it's Sunday, July 4th, or 14th rather, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. The third webinar is July 17th, 4 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, same time, because I want to teach each of these ingredients individually. And so today,
hey, Sean,
yes,
the 17th is Wednesday, and the slide said Sunday.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for that. I think I copied and pasted and then didn't change the day. So that is Sunday, or that is Wednesday. I'm going to change it right now. We're going to change this live. How about that? All right. Thank you, Michelle. It's Wednesday, July 17th, same time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So I hope you can, watch those as well, because again, you have to be committed to depth. In today's webinar, we're going to go over embodied wisdom. And we're going to talk about these 3 components, but I want to tell you about the live event first. And then after telling you a little bit about the live event, then I want to come back and just be here with embodied wisdom until the end of the webinar. So I'm going to break down these 3 bullets about training your body and what embodiment actually is, and it's not intellectual, and what you got to do to get cellular learning, etc. But before that, I want to just take a few minutes out and talk to you about this live event. It's called Launch. The reason it's called Launch is because we want to help you launch your career if you're brand new. We want to help you launch to the next level if you've already been doing this for a while, but you're at a ceiling. And all of the philosophies that we've been talking about and the concepts are in our live events because we actually provide what we think people need, right? So it's embodiment, and it's conversion mastery, and it's transformational mastery, and it's all of that in a 4-day event so that you have the fundamental principles to be a successful coach in 2024, in today's world, not pre-COVID, not in 2022 where everybody was still at home. In 2024, post-COVID, post all the division in society, post AI, post algorithms being just a part of our everyday life. Like, you need to understand the principles that you can employ going forward, because all that stuff in the past can't help you in today's world. And so there are 2 main big fundamental skills that you can take to create a transformational coaching industry or transformational coaching business in today's world, which is coaching certainty and client conversion. Coaching certainty and client conversion. And in this event, we're giving you both of these with a couple days each. So we're spending a couple days on coaching certainty. and we're going to teach some of the depth of transformational mastery. One of the things that's missing so much in the coaching world is, in my opinion, again, talking to people that have gone through all kinds of coaching programs, and in my coaching certification course, what I didn't get is human behavior. What I got was coaching skills, which is great, but it's like, if you want to learn how to train an animal, but you don't know what animal you're training, what are you going to do? Just go to animal training school and then hope that the same skills that you learn that are actually designed to train dogs will work if you're training lions? You have to understand the animal that you're working with. The human animal in this case. You have to understand human behavior. You have to understand beliefs, conflicts, trauma. You have to understand programming, meta programs, micro programs. You have to understand how the human brain works, because it's the machine that decides all the behavior. If you don't understand what's under the hood, then how can you help the person? So what's more important than you memorizing coaching skills is you understand that underneath all behavior is a behavior. And that is what I believe, based on just my philosophy and why I created the program the way I created it, but also talking to a lot of people. One of the things that makes our certification programs stick out is because we spend a lot more time on the how and the why and the where and the who and the when than just the what. And most certification programs in the coaching industry that I've seen, that I've heard of, spend way too much time on just the what. This is what to do. Coaching skills, but not understanding the human. That's what you need to do to be more valuable than virtually everybody else out there. So that's coaching certainty. We're going to spend a couple days at launch diving into coaching certainty. And we're actually going to film the updated version of our online program called BCC at this live event, because we got to update the content and include some of the stuff that we've been doing that's working, that wasn't in the original program. And so we're doing all of that first couple days at launch. And then the second couple days, we're going to break down the most important marketing muscle that, again, I think almost everybody is missing: the understanding of conversion. It doesn't matter whether you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or in person or virtual, or you're selling $7 programs, or you're selling $7,000 programs, or you're selling retreats, or you're selling coaching packages. All these variables come down to conversion. And before you actually offer people paid programs, there are all these steps in their customer journey that all revolve around conversion. So again, I think most people are just focusing in the areas that are not relevant to where they are, and not taking into account all this other processing, because they don't really truly understand the laws of conversion. So what I want to teach you in these 2 days are the laws of conversion, so that you can take these laws at an embodied level and apply them in your world to your people with your products and your personality. There has to be personalization in all of this. But only laws can be applied to different people. Rules cannot. The rule that works for you might not work for me, but the laws that work for you will work for me, just in different ways, right? So we have to be able to shift. We have to know when to shift, and that can only come with conversion laws. So that's what we're going to teach the second couple days of launch. This is a live in-person event for immersion reasons. If you really want coaching certainty specifically, you've got to be immersed in it. It's like you can't learn to swim sitting outside the water. You have to get in the water. And you've got it when you're immersed, then you can build different muscles. When you're just paying attention from the outside, when you're window shopping, you can't try any clothes on. So if you're window shopping, how do you actually know if that dress fits you? How do you know if those pants feel good when you have them on your body? You can't know without trying them on. And that's how so many people are learning, again, because of convenience. So we want to get you in the immersion so that you can start to iterate. So you can understand the different variables. You can have different experiences so that you can walk away from these 4 days with a different level of rootedness in your body, as well as understanding in your mind. That's what we're doing at this 4-day event called Launch. It's in person. It's in the Dallas, Texas area. There is a virtual option. We'll talk about that as well. But if you can come live, come live. And there's something that so many of us have been missing over the last few years, especially in personal development. If you haven't been going to live events, there are certain things at the live events that online just cannot replicate. So just come for that experience, to get hugs, to mix it up with the people that you might see on Zoom sometimes. You've never seen them in person. I haven't seen a lot of people in person that I've seen on Zoom for 4 years now. So I want to meet you in person. We want to meet you in person. We want to give you a hug, but we also want to give you this immersive experience so that in the water, we can actually teach you how to swim. If you can't make it for whatever reason, you're in a different country, or you just can't swing the dates or whatever, there is a virtual option. We'll give that to you as well. But come in person if you possibly can. So I'm going to give you a few of the different options. There's several different options. So if it feels confusing, no worries. Like, this is all written down on the page, and you can take your time and you can ask us any questions if you want. But I do just want to go through the options so that we have it on the recording here. If you want to come in person and you want VIP, what you get with VIP is front of the room seating. You get special merchandise, which we're not going to tell you what it is. You get 2 bonus Q&A sessions with me and our team. We might do it during the event, or we might do it after the event, because I don't want to sacrifice what we're creating at the event just to get in the Q&A session. So we might need a little bit of flexibility, but we're going to give you 2 Q&A sessions. We're going to spend time in person. If we don't have the full-blown Q&A sessions in person, we're going to give it to you afterwards. I just don't want to fully promise something that we end up wanting to change because, we're limited in our time, obviously, at the live event. And then you're also going to have a night out with us. We're not going to tell you exactly what that is. It's going to be a surprise, but it's going to be phenomenal. You're going to be able to network with all the other people that are there in person with you. So if you want to do that, there's an early bird investment that's going on right now until the 20th of this month. And that is $747. That gives you the ticket to come to the live event and all the VIP experience that I just talked about. Or if you know somebody else that wants to come with you, you can get a discount on a second ticket. So $1247 for both tickets will give you VIP in-person tickets. And you can all go to coachshansmith.com/launch if you want to attend. If you want to attend live, but you don't want to do the VIP, you can just do general admission. That's fine. And you'll be in the room and be able to experience all the immersion, all the stuff we've been talking about. You just don't have the VIP stuff that was on the slide before, but that's only $497 USD for one, or $897 for 2 if you want. And by the way, the certification program right now sells online for that same price, $497. So you can be in the room getting all the immersion and all the stuff that we're going to do, as well as when the program is actually packaged and put online, like you'll have that as well. So you just kind of get an elevated experience here to participate in the recording of it. For those of you that can't come in person, it just doesn't work for you, whatever reason, we do have virtual options. We've got 2 virtual options. There is a VIP virtual option. You obviously are not going to be with us in person for the night out and all that stuff, but we will patch you in for the Q&A sessions. So you'll have access to those bonus Q&A sessions with us before or during or after the event, as I said, and that's only $447. If you don't want the bonus Q&A sessions, you just want a general ticket for virtual, it's $347. So again, I'm throwing a bunch of different options at you. I apologize if it sounds confusing. Ask questions if you have questions. We'll take care of you as much as we can. And you can go to coachshansmith.com/launch to see all these things. We got you covered, right? And we don't want you to create like a bunch of urgency and go, okay, I got to have it, so let me just jump right in. Like, I want you to make a decision based on what you're actually committed to. And if you're committed to the VIP experience, great, take a breath, jump in and join us, right? And there's a hotel, we got a hotel block for you. You'll get all that stuff in your welcome email and thank you page. And, we'll get you all the information that you want, but we want to give you this connected experience in person. And I can't tell you how excited I am to get back in person, and especially to do this event. We've never done an event like this in person where we're, filming the information, and, we got all the things planned that we got planned for you with the conversions and the marketing and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, a couple people here to hear from. Michelle Taylor says, a game changer for coaches who want certainty that their work will change lives and they are equipped for all situations. Worth every penny, she says. Daniel said he paid $5,000 for one program, $7,500 for another program, and BCC was better, and it was $500. So, and I think it's because, as I said earlier, we teach the concepts of application. We teach how to understand people and when and where and why and all that stuff, not just the what of the coaching skills. And I know all kinds of people who are really skilled in the exercise but don't know how to use it. And I mean, what good is it if you pay a bunch of money or spend a bunch of time, and then don't know how to use it, right? So anyway, that's the invitation to come to the live event. Also with the live event, you have these bonuses, or this one bonus is you got 30 days in our just brand new Elite Coaching Mastery membership community. What we do is twice a month, we deep dive and dissect varying coaching demos from different people with different clients, different coaches. Some of them are live, some of them are on replay, and we cut them up and we pause and play. And we discuss so that you understand so many of the components. And we might watch a 20-minute coaching exercise and discuss it for an hour and a half, because you need depth, you need understanding, you need a bunch of what ifs, you need engagement, you need all the things that most people are missing for mastery. And that's why it's called Elite Coaching Mastery membership. And I can't tell you how valuable this is going to be for you. Again, it's one of the things that's missing in the entire industry. I don't know a single program that has this. And again, that's why we say, okay, what's missing out there? This, then let's create it. Let's launch it. So we haven't even shared this with our entire community yet. We do have some people going in that are from our certification programs. And Alicia said watching unscripted coaching demos has been invaluable to her in her journey. And the dissections in this mastery program helped her understand coaching at a much, much deeper level. And she's a multi-thousand-hour coach. She's one of our mentor coaches in our certification program. And yet this membership is giving her more and more and more depth and more certainty and more mastery. So this is going to help all of you, I promise. And this is an additional bonus for joining us at launch. We also have a fast action bonus. This is an incentive that we have up until the 14th of July of 2024, to be specific. So as of the recording of this, you got about 5 more days, I guess, for a fast action bonus. So if you want to jump in, you want to get a little more sugar on your dessert here, you get 60 free days, so an additional month in that monthly mastery program, as well as $100 credit toward anything else that you want to use in our menu going forward. You don't get $100 off of your launch ticket, but you get $100 off future purchases of $300 or more. So you got a credit with us, and you can use it, for merchandise or applied toward any packages or whatever. So if you have any questions, let us know. Michelle, if there are any questions in chat, I can't even see the chat because I got the full screen going on. I see you said it. Somebody asked, will it be recorded and available for replay if we buy a virtual ticket? Who was it that asked? Because it depends on who you are. Like if you're a good person, and and if you like the things that I like, and if you like the same teams that I like, then the answer is maybe. But clearly not if you're not. So joking aside, if you don't know my sense of humor, I'm idiotic with answers like that. So yes, the answer is yes. It'll be recorded and you'll have access to it, so that you'll get access to the recordings. Michelle, anything else before we dive into embodied wisdom here? All right, we are ready.
We're great. Dive in.
Perfect. All right. So with the last bit of time here that I have with you, I really want to take some extra minutes and some extra breaths and a little more slowly dive into embodied wisdom. This quote hit me this morning, actually, as I was thinking about this and writing up some of the notes. If you are not training your body, you are setting up your mind for failure. If you're not training your body, you're setting up your mind for failure. Why? Because it's your body that will determine success. It's your body that allows you to get up on stage in front of a bunch of people and deliver. That's embodied work. And I'm sure all of you have had some experience where you thought you were prepared and your body let you know you were not. Anybody have that experience? Type in chat if that's something that you've experienced. I've experienced it many, many times. It's because what the intellect thinks is required is not usually what's actually required. And most of our learning is intellectual in nature. So most of us are training our minds. And what our minds require for us to have confidence is actually not what our bodies require for us to have competence. Let me say that one again. What our minds require for us to have confidence is not what our bodies require for us to have competence. So what does that mean? It means a lot of us are delusional in our confidence. We have false confidence. Or we have false fear. Because a lot of the times, our bodies are actually more capable than our minds think we are. So you should not be trusting your mind in the theoretical world of are you ready or not? Because what the mind thinks means we are ready is actually not what will determine whether you're ready or not. This is your body. This is embodiment. And it's your body that will keep you calm if that's what it's called for, if that's what the situation calls for, when the winds get strong. Or it's your body that will allow you to pivot when variables change that you weren't prepared for. The analogy that I like to use is in an airplane. When an airplane hits turbulence, starts bouncing around, a lot of people freak out. It's because their mind is going crazy thinking about how they're going to die in the plane crash. That's essentially what's happening, right? And then our bodies react and we get scared. It's because our minds are going forward into the world of the what if catastrophe, and it's causing our bodies to react. And so in life, when your plane hits turbulence, your mind will be the first one to jump out. Your mind will be the first one off the plane. Because your mind does not like turbulence. Your mind does not like disruption. Your intellect wants to have control of everything so that it knows what to do, so that it can avoid danger, so that you don't get eaten by a bear. That's essentially what's going on at a deep neurological level. So your intellect craves knowing the future. Your intellect craves control. Your body doesn't need control. Your body really actually understands that the only variable you'll ever be able to count on in the future is you. I can't tell you what's going to be around the corner that we cannot see around except you. That's the only thing you know will be there. You. So your investment into your most valuable and most consistent asset, which is your body, is so much more important than your investment into your least reliable asset, which is your mind. I'm not saying the mind is not important. I'm saying it's the least reliable. Why? Because it craves control in uncontrollable environments with uncontrollable animals called people. Your mind wants to be prepared so that it knows when this happens, this is what I do. Your body understands that if you have certainty and you have conviction, you have rootedness and you have depth of understanding, whatever happens, you'll respond to, and you'll be okay. That kind of embodiment training, though, cannot happen intellectually. You can't intellectualize embodiment. I talk about it because I want your intellect to understand the need for embodiment. It's like talking to somebody who's in the attic about the basement. Just talking about what needs to happen in the basement doesn't cause all those things to happen. But if you know that things need to happen in the basement, then there's a higher likelihood that you're going to take your little behind into the basement. So there's an intellectual understanding that's required for the process. But the intellect can never give you embodiment because it is completely separate. And that analogy of the attic versus the basement is a really important one. And the main floor is where your life is happening, right? When you go into the attic, that's where your intellect is. And you're looking down and you're thinking about things and you're trying to prepare for things. But when you go into the basement, you're actually underneath. You're underneath your life. It's like you're going into the soil. You're going under the water. That's where embodiment happens. That's when we train your embodied experiences. That's when we take a look at what's going on in your body, because your body actually reacts faster to external stimuli than your mind comprehends it. See, your mind has to comprehend the thing that's out there so that it knows whether it's a danger or not, whether it's safe or not, whether you can eat it or not, right? Your mind is going through all these processes of what is this thing? By the time that your mind comprehends this thing, your body has already decided. So if it's a quicker asset and it's a more reliable asset and it's a more powerful asset, shouldn't that be the one that you put the most amount of time and energy and investment into? It should. If you're interested in mastery, if you're interested in foundational leadership and the coaching that's available, the transformation, you've got to train your body. And most people are intellectually prepared and somatically scared. Somatically is just another word for embodiment. The somatic experiences in your body. Most people are intellectually prepared and somatically scared. That's why you know what to do, but you don't do it. You know how to turn the camera on and how to make a video, but you don't do it and you don't put it up on YouTube or you don't create your channel or you don't put the posts up because there's something in your body that's stopping you. And if your obstacle is in your body, your intellect is not the solution. That's embodiment. The second piece here is not only can it not be understood intellectually, it cannot be experienced intellectually, but it also cannot be assessed intellectually. It cannot be measured intellectually because it's not an intellectual process. It can be understood at a high level, but it can only be experienced in your body. That's why when you go to a live event, if you're going to come to launch, you're going to experience something in your body by being in this room that your mind could not have experienced. Or if you're even virtual with us and you're engaged and you're in it and you're not on your phone and you're not doing emails and you're not being distracted, you can immerse yourself to the capacity that's possible online and be in it in a way that pulls more out of you. Because that engagement is what's required for you to get out of what's available. That's embodiment. You've got to be in it in order to get out of it what's available. And it's not an intellectual process, but most of us have been programmed intellectually. Most of us have learned intellectually in our educational institutions. Those are intellectual learning machines. You learn something intellectually, you memorize it, you give it back to them on the test, and then you're done with it. That doesn't mean you learned anything. That doesn't mean you could teach anything. That doesn't mean you've become anything. And in the transformational world, in this transformational journey, you want to help other people with the overflow of the saturation of your body. This last bullet is everything. Knowledge is only a rumor. Knowledge is only a rumor. until it lives in your cells. Ugh. I just want you to breathe that in. Knowledge is only a rumor. There's something about that word rumor that's so perfect. It's only a rumor until it lives in your cells. And you cannot intellectually get anything into your cells. That's why this is cellular learning. This quote is especially meaningful to me. It's been meaningful for a long, long time, but it's especially meaningful to me because this is the first thing that I heard a man named Scott say that got me thinking, oh, there's a whole nother universe out there. What does that mean? Tell me more. And he started talking to me about embodiment and somatic and, and the work that he does with people to get leadership in their body. And so I took his course and everything in my life shifted. Almost everything that I do now, almost everything that I teach is from this embodied experience, because I know you need these embodied experiences, right? So we always want to get things in your body. And I took his leadership course, changed my life fundamentally, and I've been, writing with it and teaching with it and learning with it and understanding literally every single day. I've used what I learned from him. And he just passed away last week at a very, very young age. So there's something about this quote that has always been deeply, deeply meaningful to me. But this time it's activated even at another level. And embodiment travels. Embodiment travels. So what he taught me has traveled. And I teach you what he taught me from an embodied perspective. And when you get things in your body, it will travel. It will travel into your parenting. It will travel into your sales. It will travel into your relationships. It will travel into your self-esteem. It will travel into your leadership. It will travel into your job. It will travel because your body goes wherever you are. That's how you got there, is with your body. Your mind, not necessarily. Your mind might not be paying attention. Your mind might not be in the moment. Your body is always in the moment. Your body can't not be in the moment, but your mind can. We always, every single day, thousands of times a day, our minds wander. So your mind can absolutely not be in this present moment, but your body will never not be in this present moment. That's why embodiment is everything. And if you want leadership, if you want magnetic leadership, if you want influence, if you want to really change people's lives, embodiment is the only way. And if you want to stand out in the sea of competition in today's marketing world, embodiment is the way. It'll change the way you talk. It'll change the energy. It'll change the way you understand people. It'll change your ability to pivot inside of conversations. Talk to one person a different way than you talk to another person. Because embodiment can withstand the environment changing. Embodiment can withstand the strong winds. Embodiment can withstand the changing of the algorithms. Embodiment can withstand the disruption. The intellect cannot. So if you're committed to that level of impact and that level of leadership, you must be committed to embodiment. When I signed up for Scott's course, I didn't know what we were going to do. I didn't ask him what we were going to do. I just knew I wanted an outcome called embodied leadership. And I trusted him. You're going to take me through exercises that I probably can't understand now anyway, but if I want the outcome, then I'll follow the recipe. If you want the outcome, you must follow the recipe. And if you want transformational results, you must follow a transformational recipe. If you want embodied impact, you must go through embodied training. That's very, very simple. But most people are actually not following that. Most people are trying to learn conveniently. They're learning shallowly, expecting deep results. Mastery does not come through shallow experiences. Mastery does not come through multitasking. Mastery cannot be microwaved. If you want deep impact, You must go through deep training. It's just that simple. And the speed of your learning will determine the length of your learning. Let me break that down as the final concept here before we wrap up. The speed of your learning determines the length of your learning. What that means is if you learn something really quick, it'll only last a little bit of time. But if it takes you a while to really learn something, especially embodied, then it'll last a long time. But we're programmed nowadays to consume everything fast, to get there yesterday. What's the shortcut? How can I get to the money fast? How can I get to confidence fast? How can I look good fast? We're programmed to get everything fast. And the only way to get something fast is to do it shallow. And if you're committed to fast and shallow, that's fine, but you can never have deep and transformational results with a fast and shallow commitment. So the speed of your learning will determine the length of your learning. How long it takes you to get it will determine how long it lasts. So if you want long-lasting results, act like it. And when I say it will determine how long it lasts, it's actually exponential in both directions in my experience. The things that are really fast to chew and to consume and to understand intellectually, let's say, of course, it doesn't work linearly like this, but let me just use some numbers just to prove the point. Let's say it takes you an hour to learn, it'll probably only last for about 10 minutes. Like it doesn't even last the same amount of time because of the shallowness of it. But if it takes you something a year to learn, that could last 50 years. So it's exponential in how long it lasts. And in today's world, we're being driven toward more and more shallow, lazy, fast solutions. That's why most people don't have embodiment. And I hope now it makes even more sense why I said at the beginning, most coaches fail. Because they don't follow the process that's required to give them the embodiment that's required. And if you need embodiment and you don't follow the process that's going to give it to you, then everything that's possible is not available to you because you didn't go through the process. That's just the truth. That's the harsh reality. And your choice is whether you're going to commit to the path of mastery and growth or whether you're going to commit to the path of safety and short-term success. I hope any of you, obviously, that are still here, live or watching the replay, of course you're committed to growth and long-term. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here already. I would have angered you a long time ago. So clearly, you're committed to that long-term game. And if you are, everything is possible for you. I don't know how long. I don't know what's going to work for you. I don't know what that breakthrough exercise is going to be for you, but I know it's possible. We just don't know the details yet. We want to support more people becoming more authentic, expressed, unique versions of themselves because that's what I think the world needs. The world doesn't need a watered down version of anybody else that's already out there. What's missing in the puzzle is your unique piece. That's what's missing. And it's valuable. It's needed. That's what we want to help you do, is create your unique puzzle piece to put it in the world's puzzle to give you the impact that you want to make. But that is a personalized process. It is not an assembly line approach. It can never be predicted. Please don't listen to anybody that will tell you they're going to predict your future. When they don't know who you are, they don't know what product you're offering, they don't know your people, they don't know your background, they don't know your fears, they don't know your qualities. They don't know any of that stuff, but they're going to tell you that if you follow this system, you're going to make $10,000 in 30 days. Bullshit. If anybody tries to predict a personalized path, you know they're lying. They might not be consciously and intentionally lying, but that's not predictable. But your unique success actually is possible. And if you're willing to commit to it, We want to support you however we can. If you want to find out more about the alignment with launch specifically or anything else that we can support you with, you can book a call right there, coachshansmith.com/book-my-call. This is webinar number 1. Could you imagine if we tried to smash all 3 of these things into this time? I mean, it just would have been, just fire hose. So I appreciate all of you that stuck around to the end as well, because that tells me that you're willing to be here in the moment and don't just window shop. Go into the store. Actually jump. Actually get into the water. That's the only place that you can learn how to swim. So I honor those of you that are committed to your long-term growth and success. We want to support you in any way that we can. Remember, we've got 2 more webinars coming up. We're going to dive into the other 2 ingredients of uncommon success. And if you commit to that for yourself and for others, what's waiting for you in terms of impact and income and possibilities and fulfillment and joy is staggering. I wish I could take you 3 years into the future knowing that you committed to the work and put you in your life in 2027, in the summer of 2027, and put you in your life so that you can feel the outcomes of your commitment and then bring you back to this moment. And what would happen is you would operate like one of those wind-up dolls. As soon as you hit the ground, you would take off running toward that future. But most people don't have that embodied experience. They don't know what's possible, or they don't have the support, or they don't have the commitment, whatever it is. But please don't let the summer of 2027 show up and you're still in the summer of 2024. Please don't do that. Don't do that for you. Don't do that for the clients that are waiting for you. But if you're willing and you're committed, what's possible will blow your mind. Blow your mind. So with that, everyone, I appreciate you all. If you want to leave a comment before we head off here, then fantastic. We gave you the dates and the times of the webinars. We're doing it again Sunday, July 14th, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and Wednesday, July 17th at that same time. So join us for the other 2 webinars in this series of uncommon success, and listen to this one again. That's the thing about foundation. You gotta listen to it over and over and over and over and over again. So I hope this has been valuable. I hope this gives you something to be excited about, something to commit to. For those of you that are going to join us at launch, I can't wait to really dive in, right? Like, we're talking about the work, but wait till we start doing the work. That's when I get really, really excited. I know several of you are already going to join us here. So we appreciate you all, and we're here to support you. We'll see you in the second webinar of Uncommon Success. I hope you have a great rest of your night or day or midday, whatever it is for you, and we'll see you soon. Take care, everyone.